Hey everybody, and welcome back to the board meeting. Today, I'm just going to be recapping my last Saturday, actually. And because last Saturday I went and we did Gameapalooza 2022. Now, Gameapalooza is this board game event here that I run. And basically, all it is a giant board game day that we play games from early in the morning all the way until basically early the next morning. So yeah, we're playing games constantly during this. It's just a big board game day, essentially. It's almost a convention, but just a bunch of friends getting together and playing games. And it's something that we've done it once a year for the last 3 years. So this was the third year doing it. And I put it in a small town. I mean, I'm from a small town, North Dakota, and we hosted it here in Hazen, North Dakota this year. And Hazen is right beside Beulah, and Beulah is where I live. And Hazen is just another little tiny town that's like 7 miles away from Beulah. I mean, Hazen's like 2,500 people or so. But yeah, I rented out the city hall and we had it from all day and night so we could play board games basically. And this year we had, I think I ended up counting 37 people show up for that. And for a small town and a niche hobby, 37 people showing up for it is pretty awesome in my opinion. And we did have people from other cities come to it as well. I had people from like 5 or 6 different cities come and show up for that. But yeah, it's just a big fun day, and it's my favorite day every single year. I love getting together with large groups of people and just sharing my favorite hobby with everybody and playing games. And I think I brought over 100 games to this just to have out there for people who could grab them and play games and stuff like that. I also brought 80 different games that I used for giveaways, and I ended up giving away I think 50 games. So some people got even 2 games when they came there, but I made sure everybody got at least 1 game when they left. Just it, I think it's really important for like the hobby to have good experiences like this, and for me to be able to give them a game uh, to take away with them and bring to your home, maybe them showing some other friends. I think that's a good way to grow this hobby, and I feel like it's almost like a selfish thing to do because I just want the hobby to grow so that I have more people to play board games with. So yeah, that's kind of why I give away games during this, just because I want more people to get into this. But yeah, I'll just recap the day. I mean, I showed up at 8 a.m. at City Hall and unlocked the place, or 8:30 a.m. And I set up some tables and stuff like that. And it wasn't too long before quite a few people started showing up. And uh, the first people that showed up were some friends from out of town actually, and they went and seen that I brought Ark Nova, and they didn't know anything about it, and they wanted to play it. So we started setting up the game, and then I actually had other people that showed up, and they really liked Ark Nova, and they knew it better than me even. And so I was like, "Hey, do you guys just want to play this?" And they took over and they played it and they taught it to my friends, and yeah, they looked like it was a really good time. In fact, those other friends ended up purchasing Ark Nova on the internet after they got done playing the game. That's how much they liked it. But while they were doing that, I went and sat down with some other friends and I taught them Enchanted Plumes, which is like this little card game. And it's Enchanted Plumes is probably my most played game in the last 3 months. It seems like almost weekly I break this out with some people and play it. And it's just like a little filler card game that has some similarities to Lost Cities actually, except it can play up to 6 players, and it plays really good at high player counts too. So it's a great filler game. Next, I went and I taught Ethnos to some people. Well, me and a friend taught Ethnos, and Ethnos is like this very abstract area control game that has fantasy creatures in it. It's a really ugly looking game in my opinion, and for fantasy creatures, it's weird theme and look to a game that it's like the theme doesn't match at all. But it's a fun game. It's relatively new to me actually. Within the last 2 months is the first time I played it, and I absolutely adore the game. It's a game that could definitely use like a reprint and like nicer looking board and stuff like that. But yeah, really good game, Ethnos. Next, after that, I taught Blood Rage to some people. We played a four player game of Blood Rage, and I hadn't played Blood Rage for about a year and a half, and I forget that it's pretty simple, actually. You draft cards, you play those cards doing those actions, and that's another area control game. And at first, I did not like Blood Rage back in the day when I first tried it out. Now I adore the game because it's not as take that as it seems. It's not as ruthless as it seems. It's very strategic in, I mean, sometimes you want to lose battles. Sometimes it just depends on your strategy. It's not all just bashing, head bashing, and stuff like that as it looks like on the board. It's got quite a bit of strategy to it. It's one game that I really like. After Blood Rage, we went and I went from Blood Rage, a big miniature game, to a small little filler game. We played Colt Super Express. Played that with I think 6 people and some younger people as well. And Colt Super Express is just such a fun little silly game. Anytime you play Colt Super Express, it's filled with laughter and it's just a good time. I love Colt Super Express. Love breaking that out with people. It's just it always ends with laughing in that game. Always. After that, after Colt Super Express, we actually played a big giant game of Werewolf. I'd never played Werewolf before. I'm not a big like social deduction person, and I knew exactly how Werewolf worked, but I've just never wanted to play it really. But I wanted to try out a big game of Werewolf, and we played. I think it was a 20-person game of Werewolf, so that was fun. A lot of fun, filled with laughter. Do I like Werewolf a lot? It's okay. It's your average social deduction game, which is, like, again, not really my favorite thing, but I had a great time playing it with this large group of people. I've never played a game with so many people before, so that was a fun experience, playing Werewolf. After that, I went and I showed a couple friends Unmatched. I taught them how to play it. I played a couple games myself. I had a really fun game of Moon Knight versus the T-Rex. That was really interesting. One of the best games of Unmatched I think I've played. We ended up having like 4 or 5 people then standing around us watching because it was just so back and forth and it was just so close. And the T-Rex ended up winning. I believe we were both down to like 1 or 2 health, and Moon Knight ended up losing, which is me. Moon Knight is one of my favorite characters now. He's so fun to play. Yeah, some great games of Unmatched. I'm glad I got to show some friends it too, plus some other friends that had played it before. After Unmatched, I played a 2-player game of Parade. Parade's a little tiny card game that I really like. It's an Alice in Wonderland themed game, fun game. And we also played Mandala after that, which is another Parade is multiplayer, but we played a 2-player. After that, we played Mandala, which is a 2-player abstract game. Just one of my favorite 2-player games, Mandala is. After that, the pizza showed up. I ordered like 15 pizzas or something. And by the way, we charged $10 a person to come to this, just to cover pizza and to cover the rent for the renting City Hall, which basically just covered everything. So yeah, we ordered 15 pizzas and some sides and stuff like that, and just sat around talking for quite a long time. I was at this thing for I think 18 hours, 19 hours. I didn't play as many games as I thought I would actually, because there was a couple times, like for like an hour, hour and a half, I just sat around talking to certain people, going around talking to people, catching up with people that I haven't seen for like 6, 7 months. Yeah, it was a great time. Just because we're at a board game event doesn't mean you have to sit there and play board games. You catch up with friends, family, to just talk to people. That's most of the fun of board games is socializing with people. And yeah, we definitely did a lot of socializing at this thing. Next, I played a couple very light games after this. I taught some people Sushi Go, which is this light card drafting game. Played one game of that with them. Then I went over to another table and I taught some people this other light game, For Sale, another light card game. Really good time. Really enjoyed it. After that, it was getting pretty late. It was past midnight at that point. And then we decided we were going to play some more Unmatched. And we played a 2 versus 2 game, and then another table played 2 versus 2 as well. And we intended to do like a tournament, just a small tournament where 2 versus 2, and the winners of both of those games would end up playing for like a championship. But we only ended up playing one game because a lot of people left after that. But it was, my team was Willow and Muldoon versus the other team, which was it was Achilles and Bloody Mary. And Willow's not like the best character, and she was on our team. My partner was playing him, and so it was kind of, I was trying to power through with Muldoon, and I actually ended up Willow ended up being the all-star of the game. We barely eked out a victory in that one. Uh, that was one of the most memorable games of Unmatched as well. So I had quite a few games of Unmatched that were memorable on this day. I just love Unmatched and how crazy some matches can end up going. But yeah, after that, everybody left except for there was just 4 of us, and by that time it was 2 a.m. And so then we decided to play one more game and clean up everything. But that game was, the Loop. And I've played quite a bit of the Loop lately. I've played, I think, 5 games in the last 2 weeks of the Loop, which is a lot for a game that, that I've had for a long time. I usually don't play games back to back to back after I've owned them for a while. But I've shown like 3 different groups this now lately, and it's just a cooperative game that I really have loved. And I keep liking it more and more. It's on the level of Pandemic, how much I like it. Pandemic and Horrified. I just love those cooperative games. They feel similar. This one feels similar to Pandemic to me. But yeah, I just enjoy the Loop so much. It's got a lot of strategy, but some little randomness with how you're dropping these rift cubes into that little mechanism that shoots them out in 3 different areas. I just like that game a lot. And after that, yeah, we finished that up, packed everything up, and took off. And yeah, it was about 4 in the morning when I finally got home. So it was a full day of board gaming, all morning, all night, and then plus some morning. So it is my favorite day every single year, this Gameapalooza event. And yeah, it's just a wonderful time. And if you're watching this video and you showed up, I thank you very much for showing up and just sharing a good time with all of us. And if you're in around North Dakota, and just shoot me a text, and I'll make sure to invite you for next year, because we want the more people that show up, the merrier. It's the more people we get to meet, the more fun it's going to be for everybody, I think, to just meet all these people. It's what it's all about, really. But yeah, that will conclude this video. It's kind of a little bit different video of me just rambling on about board game day, basically. But yeah, make sure to like and subscribe to see more weekly content from me, Shane, at the board meeting in the future. Hope you all have an amazing day. Take care, everyone.